I feel like I can't go forward in life. I can't feel like I've been happy in life. And there's just such a spirit of depression and suicide on the younger generation, because what we see is they're trapped in cultural expectation, parental expectation, and kingdom desire and expectation. And they don't know how to weave the two together. It's either or, it's not both. And so God sometimes calls you to be in the marketplace, but bring the kingdom in the marketplace. And then sometimes God just calls you to serve at church. And you're like, I'm serving at church, I'm walking in the kingdom, I'm praying for the sick, I'm seeing people healed, I'm telling people about Jesus, and that is amazing. And so that might be where God has called you. And every believer is called to do that. The Great Commission says that we go out and we win people to Christ. And we tell them about who Jesus is, and we baptize them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and we disciple them. That is the call of every believer. You don't have to be in the ministry to do those things. And then there's others that God calls into the fivefold ministry or into full-time ministry. But guess what? Sometimes when we don't know the season, we'll move out. I meet so many people, who think, well, if God has called me to the ministry, I got to quit my job today. I've got to go into the ministry, and they're struggling. They have no money to pay for rent. They have no money to pay for food. I said, you know what? I love the Lord, but I also love to have bed to sleep in. I also love to eat food. I also love to have nice things, like electricity. And so sometimes it's not practical. We get hyper spiritual and we're like, I've got to serve God, and I want to be so passionate that I leave everything behind. And sometimes, I started out bivocational, and it meant I had a job while still doing ministry. Before I was ever in the ministry, I served at church. When I first got saved, I was passionate about telling people about Christ. And so even though I went to a church and I served there, I drove an hour to go to Lakewood Church to serve and be part of their street evangelism team. That's where I learned how to do street evangelism, by driving an hour each way and going out and reaching people on the streets of downtown Houston.